Crossing fingers this time around. Hopefully it works because last week it was giving us a little bit of trouble. But there he is. Good evening.
Good evening, March. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to see you. I'm glad you can hear me loud and clear. How good was that episode, man?
Yeah, it was amazing. I never thought when we did the interviews it was going to be this great. Spoke to Cheslin the other day, and it's like watching a Netflix series, and you just want to keep on watching and watching and watching. But now you have to wait till next week Sunday.
You know, you have put Calmore on the map with the extraordinary performances that we were putting out. But just a year before, you were in the Curry Cup, basically minding your business. No idea what 2019 would have produced for you. What was the turning point for you, do you think? People calling while I'm working. I wanted to ask you, what was the turning point for Hey,
Sorry,
Herschel,
I
can you see
lost you a
me? Can
bit
you
there.
hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Now we're back. We're back. I wanted to ask you about your rise and rise in the green and gold because it all started out with that brilliant 2019 season in Super Rugby. But the dream has always been to be a Springbok and a very good one at that. Where for you in that season was the turning point, the little bit of belief that started to grow that I could play myself into a Springbok team?
Yeah, I think it started when I was given the opportunity to play in the Curry Cup. I think by then, and then obviously we didn't do so great in that final against the Sharks on Newlands. But went on the next year to play Super Rugby, and I was fortunate enough to be on the bench for Jana from Mark. And unluckily for him, he got injured. Then I got given the opportunity. And I think from there, I just knew that if I'm not going to take the opportunity now and make the most of it, that it's a
Sure, Herschel, we're struggling a little bit with your connection. Is there any way you can move around a better spot in the house where you would have
let
a
me
bit of a
just see
better
what I can do.
connection? Yeah, let's see what we can do. We're speaking to Herschel Jantjies. He's part of the 31-man squad in the 2019 Rugby World Cup Springboks, the winning Springbok team, that is. Just trying to get a better connection. Okay, that's not better. We can't hear. Everybody's saying that they can't hear you clearly. But if that's the best spot you can find, then I will just continue. You're a young man from Calmore, a Calmore-born lad. And you speak in the episode as well about how for young men in your community, catching on those social ills becomes so easy because there's no real hope, there's nothing to look forward to. Why were you different? What is it about that place that made you believe you could be bigger than it, that you could reach for the stars?
Yeah, I think the fact that some guys were given opportunities, and I sort of always idolized those guys that got opportunities, and some of them didn't make it for whatever reason it was. But like I said in the documentary, in the interview, there's a lot of youngsters that get caught up in drugs and alcohol and stuff. Um, but I think for me it was just the people that I idolized that I saw was given the opportunity, and couldn't make the most of it for whatever reason it might be, was sort of a learning curve for myself, and I just said to myself that I never want to be like that. Um, it's quite easy to say now, but I think I got surrounded by great people. I think my family played a big part in the person that I am today, especially my dad. Yeah, and just the people that I hung out with, the friends that I had. Obviously, hier en daar was 'n ouma stout, but I think that was just part of Katekwad.
I saw your mom crying as well. She couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe that her boy will be playing for the Springboks, and your dad, just the pride on his face. What are the big lessons that they have taught you that built your character to be ready for a moment like that to represent your country?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is probably just to never let my feelings and my emotions affect others. Just to sort of control and then just to be happy, to live out my dream, to enjoy what I'm doing. And my dad always has the saying, if you can control the controllable, you can't worry about what the rest are thinking or what the rest are doing. So just control what's within you and what you can control, and hopefully things will turn out to a success.
And they certainly did. Tell me about the week ahead of that match against Australia, your personal preparation for that match.
Yeah, so I was quite nervous when I saw my name on the team sheet and seeing that I'm starting. But luckily I had experienced heads around me. I got Elton was was my roommate. Obviously with his experience, he kept me calm. Yeah, so obviously I was really nervous going into the game, but with the people around me, like Eben was captain on the day, and I'm very good friends with Eben.
Mm.
Like I said, Elton was my flyer, so it made things much more easier for me to play in that game. And I really just went out to enjoy myself and then to take the opportunity. I mean, I think I worked so hard to get there to now eventually blow it up with nerves and stuff. It's not going to be worth it. So I really just went out there to enjoy myself, play the type of rugby that I know, just to live out myself and to enjoy it.
There was also a lot of talk around the splitting of the team, the so-called A team and B team, with one of the teams going through to New Zealand ahead of that clash in Wellington. Did that play any role in your mind? You know, where you wonder, are you best placed? Are you good enough? Did it have any effect at all on your psyche going into that match?
Not at all, because I think the important thing was for us to, as players, to get in that final World Cup squad. And if it did play any part, it was just motivational to get yourself to, if that was the A team, then to play at the best of your ability as you can to get into that A team. I don't know how the other guys felt, but that's how I felt. And like I said, I wasn't gonna let the opportunity that was given to me just slip through my fingers. Yeah, and I think getting into a World Cup squad with only 3 caps on your name, it's quite special. And I could say I was really lucky and blessed to be part of that squad.
And then you find yourself in New Zealand, and here's a game again on tenterhooks. You know, another opportunity because of an injury to your number one scrum half in Faf. And you get the opportunity, you get to run on. Now, the plan, as per the coach, was let's just get the losing bonus point. When did you guys decide that no, that's not good enough?
I think like Willie said, no, I think when the call came on, the senior guys were just like, yes, if we can win it, why not win it? Go try win it. Obviously, we weren't in for the win, but we could get the draw. And like Willie said, yes, things just worked out. Paulie and Willie wasn't supposed to be there, but they worked so hard to get there in that position and put us in a great position. And then just the brilliance of Cheslin to spot me on the inside and then give the chip. And then again, if you want to call it luck or whatever, yes, it just bounced right for me, and we got the try out. I said I was so excited to score the try, just to get the ball in my hands and dot it down. I didn't even think about Paulie kicking. Still had to kick the
Yeah.
kick the conversion to draw us level. but luckily he kicked it over. Yeah, and we got a draw. It felt like a win for us, even though we didn't get it on the scoreboard. But mentally, I think it was a good boost for us.
It really was a good boost. Is that when you stopped supporting the All Blacks?
No, I think yes, I was really young. I think
Mm.
I was still in primary school when I was crazy about the All Blacks and then New Zealand rugby and stuff. Just for the type of rugby they played, and obviously were untouched for a number of years, and they were just the best. Um, but obviously, as you grow older, you start to get a bit of brains. You realize that yes, you'll never get to play for the All Blacks. Your dream has to become a Springbok, and yes,
Mm.
ever since the dream was always to become a Springbok and to play in the Springbok and to win a World Cup as even cherry on top of the cake.
We're in conversation with Herschel Jantjies, scrumhalf, part of the Springbok team to win the 2019 Rugby World Cup. Coming in, you had that warm-up match against Japan, and I imagine, firstly, where were you 2015? Where were you watching that game from, the Brighton match?
Yes, 2015. I was at home. Yeah, I was at home, watching it from home. Yeah, and I couldn't believe it. Obviously, it was guys you knew from school now, like Andre Pollard and Jesse Krill and stuff. So you couldn't believe with the type of team where that we got that result. But yeah, I think that's in the past now. And obviously it had some effect on the guys that played in that game. Um,
Mm.
and sort of that pressure transferred down to us in a good way, I would say, because it would bring out the best out of us. And I think going into that exhibition match, it just showed that how desperate the guys was to prove a point and to make a statement.
You could see it even in the training. Aled was not playing. Those ice baths look so lit.
Probably, probably the happiest I've been in the ice bath. Yeah, yes, he wasn't playing around.
Sure.
He made us work. He made us work in like 90% humidity and about 35 degrees. It felt like 50 degrees. Training high intensity. You actually look forward to going into that ice bath after training.
Mm. That week was also difficult here in South Africa with the news breaking of the death of Uyinene. Seeing the visuals across universities in the country, GBV once again in the spotlight. I know that the team was sheltered, for lack of a better phrase, but I know that the news will filter in somehow, some way. Were there any conversations that you as the team or you as players amongst yourselves had about should we speak out, should we say something?
Yeah, so obviously the guys felt that they had to say something and then try and make a statement about it. But obviously, Coach Rassi had a different plan, and I think what his plan was spot on. It wouldn't have made any difference if we were in Japan and just saying something. It's not gonna change the situation. Like he said in his interview, it might be see us saying something, or one of the more senior guys saying something on social media or whatever, or in the media, and it would just be a few words. But I guess if we could really put those or our performances towards that and sort of try inspire with how we play rugby, it means so much more than just saying something and can't do anything about it being in Japan. And I think when the news came out, your mind immediately goes to, yes, I have a girlfriend back home. My mom is back home. I have family back home. And I think it's still quite an emotional topic. Um,
Mm.
but I guess it's yes, I don't know how to put it. Um, yeah, but it was really tough being that side and can't do anything about it. But I think the guys were just so focused on winning the World Cup. I think we eventually gave some hope with that.
Do you think then that Makazole Mapimpi, with what he did in writing Nene's name on his strapping, said something without having to verbally say something for the team?
100%. And I think it was probably the feeling of you could say everyone in the squad. Yeah, so what Makazola did was just really special. Yeah, I'm not one to wear strapping or Rassi wasn't gonna Coach Rassi wasn't gonna force us to wear a black armband or do something crazy. But I think the fact that it came naturally meant that it came out of heart, and it was really something that touched each and every one of us. I think it just meant so much more.
Yeah, we just missed a little bit of that last part of what you said. The connections, apologies for the connections, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it doesn't always work the way we want it to. With that said and done, that particular day, that win against Japan, what did that do for the team?
Yeah, I think the monkey was off our back now, because the Japan game was done. The nerves of losing against Japan again was gone. Um, and I think it gave us so much confidence. I mean, we were there for a week before just to prepare for that game, 2 weeks before our first World Cup game. And I think we gained a lot of confidence out of the way we played and trying to play in that conditions, because I mean it was really tough. You can see Bongi sitting on the bench sweating like he ran a marathon. Um, but I think we gained a lot of confidence out of that game. Yeah, and obviously going into the first game against the All Blacks in the World Cup, it didn't go our way. But I think it was just purely out of our mistakes that we lost that game. And then I think it was a good thing, because then Coach Rassi said that if the All Blacks were going to win the World Cup, they had to beat the Springboks twice. So, yeah,
Yeah.
so by then it was game on.
And game one it was. You went all the way through to the final. You get to the final, you defeat England. What went through your mind when that final whistle blew?
Yes, I remember the final few seconds. There was a ruck happening, but I was sort of looking at the ball and looking at the clock, looking at the ball, looking at the clock, and just spotting where Puli was. It's probably the longest I've kept the ball in the ruck ever. Um, yeah, I just passed it out to Puli, and he kicked it out, and I just went down on my knees. I was just so grateful for the opportunity, grateful that we could, as a group, as a squad, management players, pull through what we said we were going to pull through. I think all the hard work, all the efforts, just to see it pay off, it was just amazing.
Massive congratulations to you for that, because what a story. From Super Rugby, getting into the Rugby Championship, a dream debut, being able to even see your parents in the change room. You come to Japan and you win a World Cup. And then you go back to Calmo. And I'm curious as to what you think people now see when you walk down the street and they say, "Hello, Uncle Hirsch. Hello, Hershey. How are you?" What do you think they think when they see you?
Eh, Yes, I would like to think that I think that I'm still just a human being and someone that just went after their
Mm.
goals. Obviously, the younger kids are very excited, when they see myself in Carmel. And I try still engage to them or with them as a normal person, and then not as Herschel Jantjies, the Springbok player, but just as Herschel Jantjies, the human being. And I think it means so much more for people when it's like that than you trying to be more than what you are. Yeah, I enjoy being in Carmel. I was there this weekend, so it was pretty nice being back home, for a while.
And what did your parents say?
What did my parents say when we came back from the World Cup?
Yeah, yeah. When you presented them with your medal, like, here it is. I imagine that was such a big moment.
Yeah, yes, it was amazing when I got home. There was so much family and people at home, and obviously my parents were really proud. Um, yeah, like you saw my mom on TV now, she cries for everything. So, so again,
She's my fave.
tears started rolling again. Yeah, and they were just really, really proud.
So are we. We're also really, really proud. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And it's just been extraordinary watching you rise and rise. And I can only imagine what the next level is for you. Congratulations on all that you have achieved. And yeah, on to the third episode. What can we look forward to, Hirsch?
Yes, I don't know, but what I can tell you, it's gonna be yes, it's gonna be even more special, I think. Like I said, it's like a Netflix series. You just want to keep on watching, keep on watching. So I generally can't wait for the next few episodes. I think it's going to be special. Yeah, and I think there's a few more stories that's even bigger than the past two episodes.
Sure. Just when we think you can't top it. And now we have to get even more Kleenex in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, Herschel. It's an absolute pleasure to speak to you, to watch you on the field. And I don't know if it's like, was it France that said to you, you won't get it now, but one day you will realize just how big this moment is. I think one day you'll realize just how big your story is for so many people, not just in Calmo, but across this country and maybe even around the world. So proud of you. Have a good night and
Thank
thank
you.
you for joining us. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much,
Ah,
Marge. Have a lovely
that is
evening.
Herschel. That is Herschel Jantjies on the line,
Sure.
one of the 31 from that Rugby World Cup winning Springbok team, joining us on the line for Chasing the Sun. It's the docu-series that we've been speaking about, produced by your World of Champions. It is brilliant, riveting television. And if you haven't watched it, make sure that you do find it on Catch Up and check it out. We've already had 2 episodes. 3 more to go every single Sunday at 6 o'clock on Mnet. And again, if you do not find the time to watch, then you can always catch it on Catch Up. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have an awesome evening. Goodbye.